What's up guys, this is FlamingVictini and I'm bringing you game 3 of Cosine180 versus Tele from round 1 of OLT. And Cosine is bringing a very standard looking offense team with a Gardevoir and Manaphy, which is aimed to break Tele's team like the fat teams that Tele likes to use. And indeed Tele's team does not have really any Gardevoir switch-ins that are very solid. And Manaphy can also become a huge threat, especially if his Tele's Togekiss is slower than Manaphy, which it should be, and if the rocks can get up and the Manaphy can stay healthy. Like Tele has to if Manaphy is also timid, then really Tele has to hit it with multiple hits. He has no way of OHKOing it because I expect the Zard is X and not Y, just looking at the build. And so Excadrill can't OHKO it, Alakazam can't OHKO it, so you'd have to Tele have to sack multiple members to kill the Manaphy. And he also has no Gardevoir switch-ins. If the Azumarill gets worn down, which it seems like it would be, it could, then Weavile can definitely go ham. But Cosine180 looks very weak to Dragon Dance Zard X. That can just roll through his team in seconds. Extremely weak to that. And also Excadrill is a big threat. Cosine180 has to keep his Manaphy healthy, or try to wear it down with Life Orb and Garchomp or Priority. And he also has little to no Azumarill switch-ins. I'm not sure if his Scizor is Roost or 3 attacks offensive Sword Stance, but regardless, Azumarill is a big threat. And Togekiss can also be pretty annoying. And also, oh yes, Alakazam is going to play a really big role in this game actually, and we'll see that later on. But Cosine180 is going to lead off with his Gardevoir since it has very good matchup against most of Tele's team. As Tele loses off to the Azumarill for the same reason, Cosine180 is going to go for the Will-O-Wisp right here, which is really nice. So you can get off a little chip damage, so that since Hyper Voice doesn't OHKO Azumarill anyway, and you can see whether this is Assault Vest or if this is Assault Vest or Band. But Tele actually misses the Play Rough on the second Hyper Voice. I don't think on the Hyper Voice, I don't think the Play Rough would have killed. So yeah, Tele goes into his Alakazam on the Gardevoir after losing his Azumarill, and Cosine180 goes into his Scizor. And now we see a really nice play for Tele, and he goes for the HP Fire, which Cosine definitely did not expect, and the Scizor drops immediately. So here he's going to go into his Latios, knowing that he can take a Shadow Ball and get off a strong hit, and he goes for the Psyshock, nicely predicting the Togekiss or some sort of switch, while also breaking any potential sash the Alakazam would have and still dealing a lot of damage. So Tele goes into his Hippowdon on the second Psyshock to try to tank that hit and wear down this Latios. Doesn't want to lose his Togekiss quite just yet, but he pulls the switch into his Excadrill here on the Draco Meteor. Now, I'm not sure how much I agree with this because his Excadrill was definitely important and he got it low, so now it's much closer to Weavile's Ice Shard. But right here he's going to go for the Earthquake, very nicely predicting Garchomp. Now this is very important because if he went for the Iron Head, his Excadrill would get lower much more quickly, and he also wouldn't be able to do as much damage to this Garchomp. But if he took that Rocky Helmet plus Life Orb, Tele had pretty much no chance to win this game. I can't see the health of the Excadrill, but I'm pretty sure that Excadrill would live, let's see, 28%. Okay, Rough Skin plus Rocky Helmet does around that much, but I'm not sure if his Excadrill could actually live the Rough Skin plus Rocky Helmet. But if it did, that would be horrible for Tele, because then Cosine can just get up the Stealth Rocks, and Tele has no way of removing it. When at least if he died by Iron Heading, he would have some way to revenge this, but Chomp is very bulky indeed. So I could probably try to tank a hit and get up rocks later, and Tele would have no way to remove it, which is very, very important for Cosine because Tele does have the Charizard X. That is a huge threat to his team. So Tele very nicely goes for the Earthquake, and he goes for the second one expecting the Stealth Rocks. And Cosine doesn't want to lose his Garchomp. So he goes for the never mind. Oh, okay. My bad. The reason Tele switches out is because if he goes for the Earthquake, then his Excadrill will be too low, and then Cosine can just ring in his Weavile Ice Shard, and the Excadrill won't be able to Rapid Spin later on in the game. So what he needs to do is later on he needs to attempt to get off a Rapid Spin, while also removing this Garchomp, so the Garchomp can't come in and spin block with a Rough Skin plus Rocky Helmet, since if you die to recoil from that, you won't actually remove the hazards. So unless some other mon like Latios or Gardevoir or Manaphy, he just needs an opportunity. Well, actually, not Manaphy wouldn't be good because it could Tail Glow, but he needs an opportunity to Rapid Spin so his Charizard can win the game. And so that's why he switches out into his Hippowdon. He can also take 2 hits and set up Stealth Rocks, which means that when this Garchomp switches back in, it'll die, so it won't be able to. So the important thing is, although it won't be able to spin block in the same way it would have earlier where Excadrill would die to recoil, it still is able to spin block, because if Cosine can switch it in on a sack, then that way the Excadrill won't be able to go for the Rapid Spin freely, and then that way Cosine can keep up his Stealth Rocks. And then since the Azumarill went down very early in the game, the Weavile is a huge threat, and the only thing that can potentially stop it is a Sash Alakazam. But even then, with the Stealth Rocks up, Manaphy can still then clean up the game, or like break the Sash so that Weavile can clean the game. So I'm jumping a little ahead here, but Cosine goes into his Latios on the Hippowdon Stealth Rocks, and right here he just goes for the Psyshock on the switch to Togekiss. So the Togekiss goes down, and Tele goes into his Alakazam. Now this is where Cosine180 makes his mistake. Rather than sacking the Latios, he sacks the Garchomp instead. And initially it may seem like the most optimal play, because Garchomp is literally quote-unquote doing nothing, whereas Latios still has some health, so it can do something, like Draco the Zard before it can DD, or like hit the Hippo or something, and still provide a ground immunity. The thing is, he really needed that sack to stop the Rapid Spin later, as you'll see. So he goes for the Shadow Ball, and Cosine brings in his Manaphy. He's definitely playing this smart, because he realizes that if the Alakazam is Sash, which it most likely is, he also probably realized from the damage onto his Scizor that the Alakazam was Sash, and the way Tele's been playing it. So he can't go directly to Weavile and just knock off or pursue. He has to break the Sash, and also Tele has no Manaphy switch-ins really. But he's gonna sack his Hippowdon right here to get up the sand. And so he sacks the Hippowdon right here to get up the sand, and he goes into his Excadrill so he can Rapid Spin. And because he did not take the Life Orb hit earlier, he can Rapid Spin and also not die to Life Orb, so Cosine can't even like stay in to Tail Glow or something and abuse that. And he actually goes for the Rapid Spin and gets a crit. Now some people were thinking that this crit might have mattered in the long run, but once Tele got off that Rapid Spin, there was nothing really was stopping that Zard from winning. Like, because Tele, all he has to do is he can go into his let's say he did not crit the Rapid Spin, then Latios would not have died to the sand this turn, and if Tele finishes off the Latios with his Excadrill, it would be a double down. So all Tele needs to do is Dragon Dance really with the Zard, and he can then if Tele can Dragon Dance with the Zard, or remove Weavile and like get some damage on the Manaphy, then his Alakazam can just win. Like, Tele has a very good chance to win in that situation. But regardless, he gets the Rapid Spin crit, so the Latios does die to the sand. So now Cosine is forced to go into his Weavile. So in this situation, not only does Weavile take a little extra damage, which doesn't actually matter too much in the long run, but then it won't be like some sort of prediction. Because if it was a double down, then Tele could go either Zard or Alakazam, and Cosine could go either Guard or his Weavile most likely. I don't think he would just go for Manaphy. He would go Manaphy if he was expecting Alakazam, I think, but then that might force a Tail Glow prediction or something of the sorts. So it was most likely he was going to go to his Gardevoir or something along those lines. But regardless, I think I'll run a calc with Weavile against Zard just to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I ran the calc, and Zardex is actually even more bulky than I thought. Like, I knew it could take on Weavile well, but it takes only around 50% for Magical Crash, which is just great for Cosine. So yeah, Zard was definitely going to win this game because of Cosine being because Cosine sacked his Garchomp early and not on the Excadrill's attempt to Rapid Spin. Tele was able to get off the remove the Stealth Rock so Zard could win the game. But you'll see actually that something different happens. He doesn't actually end up winning with Zard. And so Weavile finished off the Excadrill, and Tele actually goes to his Alakazam. Zardex has the easiest setup on Manaphy, I think, because Manaphy is pretty weak before it megas, and Alakazam can also kind of just win this, because you'll see it is Focus Sash, so on Bar and Ice Skull Clash French, in which case Tele still has some sort of opportunity to win with the Zard. I guess there would be some Ice Shard Roost predictions based on how much Scald from Manaphy did to Zard, because I don't think a +1 Declaw would OHKO Manaphy from the range it's at. Although it might be at 76. If Manaphy is at 76, I'll just run a calc to see Declaw. Alright, so I ran the calc, and if Zard is Adamant, which it might be, I don't know if Tele would run Jolly or not, then it would KO Manaphy. So it's basically, if Alakazam got flinched, and the Weavile, if Cosine stayed in here and flinched the Alakazam, or if he flinched the Alakazam in general, and finished it off, Tele would still have the opportunity to Dragon Dance with the Zard and win the game. Although it might come down to a little bit of like Ice Shard Roost, depending on how much, depending on whether or not Tele's Zard is Jolly or not, because if it's Jolly, then it's a roll on Manaphy, so then he might be able to kill. But he goes for the Dazzling Gleam, so this is a pretty this is the Dazzling Gleam HP Fire Alakazam, which is pretty interesting. But he goes for the Dazzling Gleam on Manaphy. Now you might be wondering, like, if the rocks were up, then wouldn't this Sash Sam win anyway? The thing is, if rocks were up, Cosine could just sack his Gardevoir and then go to his Manaphy, and because rocks are up, the Manaphy won't be set up fodder for the Zard, which is really important, so that way Cosine won't lose to DB Zard, and Tele will basically be forced to let his Sash get broken on Alakazam, and in that case Weavile will be able to finish the game, since he can definitely kill Zard after Stealth Rocks. Well, pretty good chance too. If the Zard is defensive, it might be actually a little iffy, but or just a bulkier Dragon Dance in general. But basically, Tele was definitely in the upper hand in this position, and Cosine really needed to save his Garchomp to stop the Rapid Spin, to maintain any advantage he had, so that the Zard could not, like, almost nearly win the game. So yeah, he sacks the Manaphy right here, and he just goes back to Weavile. He has to hope for a flinch, and the Manaphy wasn't going to help him too much anyway. And so really these last few turns weren't as important, because it was just sacking Garchomp instead of leaving his Latios in and sacking that lost Cosine this game. So yep, Tele's going to finish off the game with the Sash Sam, and he takes the series. So that's going to be the game, and I've been busy a lot lately. My schedule's not super flexible, but I'll try to get you guys some more OLT content, so see you guys later.